Hi, cuties. Welcome in. And I guess your prize for being first is that you have to suffer through my stream even longer. But honestly, I'm excited because Jay keeps making fun of me for being a map maker. I think we're actually on accident kinda becoming a map maker. I did not plan on doing so, but I've been having an absolute blast. I have 7 good candidates. I'm gonna load the low volume ones first, because I really think the difference is what makes and breaks it visually. We're gonna fully ignore water for now. I've been looking into water data as well, or the bathymetric data to get some. This is one of the things where I think it's very visible how noticeable the difference is between the low quality ones and the high quality ones. This is made with terraining, where I always say I don't think terraining is so great. Thank you so much, Clovis. That's very cute of you. And yeah, indeed, Thomas, I sadly think the other map I've been showing before was nicer than this. But in all seriousness, after you guys seen the low quality version, now I'm gonna show you guys why I am so excited for good data. Because compare what we're seeing right here to what we're seeing in a moment. Yes, we have to ignore the ocean. The ocean is entirely cooked for now. Did I just overwrite it on accident? Please let me not have overwritten it. I just overwrite it. I hate this. You guys remember how I asked StarQ for these buttons? We're gonna have to look at a different map because I bricked that one. I can just re-import it, but god damn it, I need StarQ to make that mod. Then let's have a look at Durango, which is not my favorite, but still a good one. I could cry. I hate. Who decided this is good UI to have the import and export right under each other? The dialogue in here looks exactly the same, with the only difference being this in the top. So yeah, I just did a fumble. Not too bad, but yeah, a tad annoying. Can you guys see the quality of these maps? Like, I'm wholeheartedly, maybe it's just me being so excited, but I can't. Like, we quite literally have the smallest detail in this. And I think it's gonna be absolutely amazing. Like, you guys can see even the roads, because this is such accurate terrain. We even have road lights in there, which, in all honesty, I don't think I've ever loaded into a map that had such high resolution, which I am quite excited for. And I think, no, I don't have a source for QGIS. I'm actually annoyed with what I just did. Give me a moment. I'm gonna throw on an export in the background, because I'm annoyed with myself having overwritten what I just overwritten. I hope somebody makes a mod that you can't do that as easily anymore, because I wholeheartedly done that multiple times by now. Hold on, actually I have the correct data, I just need to copy it over, and then we will have to, and I'm very sorry for that, relaunch my game real quick, but we have enough interesting things to do right now that shouldn't be a proper problem. Because we can look at the locations in Google Maps before to give you guys a proper idea of what we're doing. But yeah, I did that a few times already, where I on accident overwrite maps because they are so similar to each other, and it's a bit painful. With that, I'm gonna yeet out my game right away and restart it. We're in the editor playset, so this is not gonna take very long compared to how long it usually takes. And with that, I'm gonna jump over to this. And how are all of you cuties doing today? You can see my Google Maps now, right? And thanks so much, Clovis. That's cute of you. By now, also, I hope you realize, Clovis, that we have a very cool icon. It took a long time, but now I actually have a sub emote, or that weird cute cactus in front. So I'm quite excited. And you guys seen, we spent a lot of time on the maps. I'm gonna show you my 7 favorites. We have 7 absolute favorites. I asked many different people and many gave me a good tip. Clovis, for example, said right away he already had a look on Durango. This is Durango. I actually think it might be a tad too big for what we're planning to do. But I think it's very pretty, and yes, Clovis being a cutie today, and very nice that you were saying you have a nice day. But yes, finally, Clovis, it was taking forever. Oh, thank you, Rookie. Very cute as well, very supportive, all of you. But yes, I think it's super cool to see these places come to life, especially, oh god, what is happening? Thanks Clovis, thanks Rookie, thanks everyone. I never really know what the hype train does on Twitch, but we are in a hype train, so woo, I guess. But yes, this is one of my favorite locations, and then all of the green ones we see here are marked. I'm open to more suggestions in case anybody of you has a good idea for areas that are fitting to what I'm showing here. Please hit me. Mainly what I care about is a lot of terrain and little buildable area. Places like these here, where we don't have much space, we're very limited by terrain, a lot of stuff is going on. And I really think this is what we're diving into. Some of these places we had the last time already. Some of these places sadly don't work. This is one of my very favorite ones, and I think the map of it turned out beautiful. It's fairly similar to Jordanelle Reservoir, but we are kind of dependent on what data we can get, and sadly we have very big gaps in this one. So we can't properly show this one, but we can properly show other ones. And I hope my game loads a bit faster than it does. Actually, I did not properly open my game. That is absolutely onto me. We're starting the game now. But yes, these places are amazing. I generally, again, look for things with very difficult terrain, a lot of water, and then preferably, but not mandatorily, arid terrain. It's a bit difficult. And I have to admit, I have been in the US a lot, but it's all been very long ago, so I don't have really good concrete ideas for places, where I'm sure people like Clovis living in the US has a lot easier time than I do with this. Because for me it's been quite difficult to do this, especially because the scale also is very hard to grasp, right? Because for example, if you look at this in Google Maps, I think it looks like a very gigantic and open area. In game, this is actually a lot smaller and has a very different vibe. So I think it's always important to load things into the game and have a look at it as well. It's wholeheartedly difficult. I think Gaga, welcome in Gaga, nice to see you, can vouch for that, because I had a short call with Gaga some of these last days where we looked at maps together. And one of my lessons with Gaga was that it's so difficult to judge the scale till you put down something in the map, because it's really hard to understand how big these areas are, right? Like this entire area is way bigger than what we can fit in the map. The map area is maybe a square, like roughly what I'm showing with my cursor right now. And it really depends on the area, and it's really difficult, at least for me, to gauge that before. I think I've gotten a little better at it, but definitely all but good yet. And my game is still loading. It's such a difference for me. I've always wondered why that's the case. But my game loads twice as slow when I'm streaming than when I'm not streaming. I guess it's because OBS already is eating resources away. So it loads a bit slower, but yeah, a bit annoying. This is one of the areas I am the most excited for. Lake Tahoe has probably, out of all of the maps we made that we're gonna go over in a second, been the very most painful one, because as you guys can very clearly see, we have a state border going right through Lake Tahoe here, right? And sadly, those state borders are quite bitchy for you making maps, because it means you have different UTM zones that are used for the coordinate system of projecting these maps. So it took me a long time to manage how to combine this into a proper looking map, because I did not know how to exactly manage to jump through that. And with that, finally our game is loaded, so we can jump in. I hope this time I'm gonna have to be really careful. I managed to not overwrite any of the map. But for example, let's have a look at Lake Tahoe right away, because I think Lake Tahoe is one of the maps that's gotten really nice, and I'm actually quite tempted to do the Lake Tahoe map. Also, we have, in a moment, we're also gonna look at that, we have some new map themes that Riza made for us. I have not looked at them yet. I've seen them in my Discord, where he posted some previews of them, but I have not actually seen any of that. Again, we have no water yet, right? I hope it is fairly obvious for you guys to see where the water should be, because our terrain really is great, so I think it's fairly easy. It is a bit difficult to figure where the buildable area is sometimes. In fact, I think we can make that better if we reload real quick, because we have a mod by StarQ that changes the way the boundaries look. And now they should be blue. Yes, that's a lot better, because since we're in our desert theme, it's so hard to see the normal boundary lines in our map, and with blue it gets lot easier. Yeah, I've gotten many to work by now, Teddy. I have 7 different candidates. I made even more. The 7 different we have, I love every single one of them. I think you were right. I think I on accident became a map maker, because I want to work all of them out. It's gonna take me a long time, because I have never made a proper map before, but it's really nice. Yeah, we can fill this super easily. One of the reasons I like this one so much, now it's easier to see where the border is, that I think this is really interesting and little terrain, right? You guys have heard me, I always said I want to be in physical pain fighting terrain, and I meant it. I don't want an open map. I don't want to have space for everything. I want to have to fight to get this to look good. I think this is beautiful, because we can literally go in all of these canyons and build out small cities and villages in here. I don't plan to build like it is in real life at all. I care about the topography of the real life places. I don't want the actual build we do in this to have anything to do with the real life build. The one thing we probably are gonna at least partly copy is highways and bigger high volume roads, but beside that it's perfectly fine. And we're gonna fill up with water in a moment. The reason I like this so much is this. I will totally ignore the real place here and break this open. I would just make this an open cut, because then we can have a realistic looking outside water connection and actually can use ferries and even maybe some cargo. I guess cargo is probably gonna be too big for our build, but I'm not sure. But we could work this out here perfectly, right? And let's do Jay a favor. I don't think the water is too relevant yet, just because the map is so unfinished yet. But water should totally work. I'm not sure if this is the lower border or the higher one. This is the... With the water, I've always been confused because it has like a higher border and a lower one, and we always need the lower one. And this is a little too high, so maybe 5 meters less. Nope. This seems pretty appropriate, and you can see the water runs in straight away. It looks really silly right now because it's so flat, right? There is no depth, so the water looks really unfinished. But yes, I guess it visually gives a bit better idea of how the map is supposed to look, but this is a bit buggy, the simulate water backdrop, because our water is so flat here. But if it would be less flat, then I think this would give a lot better idea of this. And I love this. I really think this is beautiful. One thing I don't understand at all yet is the climate. Not that I don't understand the climate, but why does this happen? Why do the climates decide to be different in the inside and the outside of the map? Makes no sense to me. I've been wondering about this a lot of times, but I'm not entirely sure what is going on there, to be honest. That's something we have to figure out eventually, but currently we have this word climate difference. In fact, we should take any warm climate really quick, or maybe this one, just so we get rid of the snow. I do think the snow actually looks quite... I have this happen all the time. I don't know why this is happening, Teddy. And I'm not the only one. I've seen people in my Discord report that this is normal behavior. That you have different visuals in the playable area and the outside area. It might be, to be honest. I'm not entirely figured many things in the editor. I've pretty much just been diving into the map stuff itself. So I'm not entirely sure what is going on. I just take something that has a high temperature and then let the time run a bit, and then the snow will slowly disappear. But I don't think this has to do anything with custom textures, to be honest. If somebody can teach me, gladly teach me, but I'm not too sure what exactly is going on with this, to be honest. But Teddy, since you asked me a lot of questions about QGIS, I wanna really make it easy and obvious to understand why I'm so excited about good data. Because if we look at something like this, and now we replace this map with the old version that we made in terraining instead, which is this. Do you see the difference, Teddy? I think I don't really need to explain very much beside loading stuff in and out, because if this is not 1,000 times worse than before, and welcome in Dava, and welcome back Reza, but yeah, it's crazy to me, because really, I'm gonna do the same again, so you can see this is the low quality texture made with terraining. Please people, everybody should stop using terraining. Horrible. Great website, I shouldn't say horrible, great website to do some quick tests in the game. Horrible website to make them a final map later on. Because again, look at this. This is the terraining map. This is our proper rendered map. And the difference in sharpness is something else. I don't really know how to say it any different. I think it's even more obvious in the world map, because the world map gets lower texture. I don't know why this garbage with the snow is happening. My easiest solution for this has been just going into a new map and pausing the time and not letting it move, because whenever I let the time progress, we get snow really quickly. But yeah, again, if we look at the world map of the same thing, I'm gonna load only the world map for now. Why is it snow ready? What is even happening? Okay, pause. Now I'm never gonna unpause again. Yes, and Teddy started watching me sometimes lately, and I feel very honored doing so. I have to admit, due to me being so new to the community, I did not know of the legend Teddy Radko till not that long ago, which is just due to me being super new to the game. By now, I'm very well aware as well, but I did not in the past. Well, it's just that I started playing a year ago, right? So everybody who, or anybody who did not make content in the last year is not super known to me, and I started learning about Teddy when he was building for the contest of City Planner Plays. Because he did a very pretty vanilla build for it that I wholeheartedly enjoyed watching. And then I learned about Teddy, and since I feel very honored that you're in my chat here. But yes, Teddy, have a look at this, because you asked me questions about this. This is the terraining quality of the world map, right? And especially in the world map, I think the terraining ones really start to struggle. And now we're loading a proper quality world map. Look at this. Look at how sharp this is in comparison. Look at how well worked out this is. I wholeheartedly think it's the biggest of difference between the two. So again, I absolutely love this. The same goes for this in the... Like here, you can see the cut super... obviously here the terrain doesn't match up because I adjusted the heat levels of these as well. But this is the low quality version that really, especially in areas like these, it's really struggling, right? And then we load in the high quality version of the holy. I need to be very careful because everything here looks the same and I keep overwriting things on accident. But this is the high quality version, and really, I wholeheartedly think I don't need to say as much for this, because if this is not easily visually obvious for you guys, then I recommend having a visit at the optician and maybe ask about some nice glasses, because I really think this is night and day, especially in some areas. It's very noticeable. This area here, the terraining map is so low quality, and then we put in our good one, and suddenly it's an absolute wonder in comparison. And I think it's even crazier for ocean regions, right? The one that I broke earlier, I'm gonna load a Villa Beach in again, which I think the ocean maps especially really struggle under quality. And we have to... Holy shit! Thank you so much, Clovis. That's very kind of you. I'm gonna have to say, if Clovis is this generous when he's having a good day, we need to all pray for Clovis having better days more regularly, because they're very appreciated. Holy shit, that is beautiful. Is that is Swedish or is that Danish? That is... I'm gonna guess that is Swedish. I don't know where you're from, Teddy, I have to admit. Seeing this right now. Well, very cute of you, Clovis. Very, very cute of you. But yes, here I think in these ocean maps, it's super noticeable, right? Like this is the low quality version. And now this time, we're not gonna mess up. This time, we're actually gonna properly import the right one. And again, if you guys can't see how massive the difference is, you guys need to get glasses. Because the quality in resolution is night and day. Again, the ocean here is very broken because I'm trying to find... I never know how to pronounce that word correctly. Bathymetric data to find a way to also map the ocean properly. We can also do it by hand. The truth is, I don't think I can do it better than what this can. And thank you so much, Chloe. It's very, very cute of you. And holy shit, you gifted 63 gifted subs in this channel already? I mean, to be honest, I'm not surprised, because I think everything that broke in my computer in recent times has been pretty much directly sponsored by Clovis, so very much appreciated. Everything I make from the stream gets reinvested into Cities Skylines, so it is for a good cause. But yes, this map also is one that really tempts me, because again, we want little buildable area. This one has a bit more open space here in the back, so in case somebody wants to build a bigger town, it's totally obvious. And I think it's difficult to see or to gauge these maps without water. I hope you can do it, but generally, obviously, we would have some rivers in here as well, in all of these canyons, where you can clearly see the prints of the rivers already. So, wholeheartedly excited, and welcome in, Kisu. We are not doing something super special today. We're pretty much just building maps, so slowly, or not even building maps. I built the maps, or the Heath and World maps, and now we're looking at it and decide, because I am lost, guys. We have so many good maps. I will need your help to decide, because whatever we decide on here is something you will have to watch me a lot of time, because I wanna both later properly build on one of these maps, as well as I really wanna dive in and work these maps out, right? So I really need good input from you guys. We're also gonna have a look at Rezara's themes in a moment, but I just at least once wanna go over all of the maps that we made, just so you guys get an idea of what we're looking for, right? And we have a few ocean maps like this one, where ignore how horrible the ocean looks, but pay attention to the terrain. This is one of the ones that I honestly, I shouldn't say one of the ones that I really like and consider, because all of them are lovely by now, and I kind of consider all of them. This is Orango, we looked at really shortly before as well. I also think very interesting, because we have this fairly big river. It looks a lot smaller than it actually is. I think it's difficult to sometimes grasp the scale of this, but this is a river that's big enough for actual big ships, right? So, nice valley down here, and then we'd have space next to it here on all of these hillsides. And honestly, I love this. The resolution is so sharp that we quite literally have slopes for our roads in here as well. Not everywhere, and it depends a bit on how good the leader data is I could get for these places. But you guys can see this, right? I've not done this. This is quite literally terrain data, just because the data we're using is so good. You can quite literally see where the highway was running. Like, everywhere. Here you see the intersection. It's absurd. It really is absurd. And I think it's gonna make it fairly easy to work this out. The one thing I have seen already is that while I can get bathymetric data, which means for everybody not into map making, it's the heath and elevation data of lakes and rivers and oceans. So pretty much the same as the heath data we're losing for land, but for water seems to mainly be available for the oceans in the US. You can also get some river and lake data, but it has very low resolution. I've been trying around with it a bit. I think probably water is something we do manually, but difficult to excite. This map also really tempts me. Then we have the Grand Tetons, which I guess kinda weird that a past booty addict is making Grand Tetons as a map. That seems a bit off-brand, so maybe we shouldn't do this, but I also really like this. I like everything where we can easily get an outside water connection, right? Because while in reality this river is not that big for shipping here, I would totally just make this river a lot bigger. So all of this very flat space, whenever you see places in my heath map that have no... Yes, you kinda miss out what is being shown in the video. I'm gonna pause for 35 seconds so Kisu doesn't feel left behind. Everybody else, I guess, got an equipped by Clovis, so nobody else is... This is Grand Tetons. As you can I hope for the Americans it's also visible. We're still waiting real quick for Kisu. And I'm gonna skip that track real quick because we're in some word interlude with people just talking. But yes, now you should be back, Kisu. I did not show anything relevant. I have no control over when Twitch shows ads, so sadly you guys have to suffer through that sometimes. But yes, this is Grand Tetons. I really like this place. I think I said this, or I told this on the last stream. I traveled a lot with my parents throughout the US as a kid and teenager, and I both love the hiking in the Grand Tetons, as well as it's the closest forest fire I've ever seen. Yeah, no, the ad should be done. I cannot see logos, sadly. So, wait, hold on. Maybe I can see in Firebot. And if I'm very honest, I don't know who you are. I hope I maybe should realize, but yeah, no, I can't see a logo, so I only see your name, and I'm not a worm. So you need to spoil the sauce yourself. QGIS is free. Like, I've made all of these in QGIS, and there is very good resources on QGIS. It's fairly difficult and infuriating, but yeah, no, I can't because I see my chat through OBS, so in OBS I don't see any... I only see the username, so I don't see any picture. I'm sorry. And I mean, obviously, like, at least what I did, QGIS seems really great, and what seems really great about QGIS, again, as well, is that it seems to have a lot of resources outside of just bare-bone mapmaking as well, like, or about cities, because it's obviously a program used by many professionals as well. So there is a lot of in-depth resources. For example, for bathymetric data, I was looking at a video of somebody who was calculating the water volume of a water reservoir, but for that he had to map the depth of the river, so he had to use bathymetric data, and it's great because you get a lot more resources than if it would just be the cities community. So I wholeheartedly enjoyed this. But let's keep moving on. We have Lake Isabella, which might, in all honesty, this might be my very favorite out of all of the maps we have. Just because I love the way the terrain looks in this. I think these mountains by itself are just absolutely stunning. I don't think I even have to do much work on this map for this to use or to look very difficult. Well, the truth is, I think QGIS should get a lot more popular, because it's a bit like right everywhere or making decals, in my opinion. It is very intimidating and very much overly complicated when you start getting into it. I have done QGIS for less than a week, and I am able to get out maps in this quality, right? So there is a lot of good resources, and sadly the internet is a big place and you can Google many things, so it is not that difficult. I really had a blast with that. Yeah, I know. I've been reading a lot of the old conversations in the CSM modding map channel to read up on what people have been doing. I already have bathymetric data for some of the projects we're working on. The truth is, I will not get data for something like this. Lake Isabella is too small. There will not be any bathymetric data for that. So here I doubt it, but in other places, for example, for Point Sewer, I already have data. In Point Sewer, I want to again show the low quality map again, just to give you guys a point again on how relevant it is to more people in the community to learn QGIS, especially map makers. This is the terraining import, right? It's okay. It's okay, right? But does this look nice? No. Can we get this nice looking? Yes, with a lot of manual work. Can we get this as nice and crisp looking as this? I don't think so. Because the truth is, I think manual work loses out to good data by a big mile. Because have you guys seen that switch that just happened here? I don't think I need to say much more about this than I'm gonna switch it back and forth just so it gets really obvious. But this is the good quality. This is the raining, right? So I'm not saying everybody should learn QGIS, but I'm totally saying if you're a map maker and you're using terraining, you're doing something wrong. Is like, and you're doing yourself wrong mainly, because we have yes. See, this is exactly why we're streaming this, because I don't plan on making maps, but I want actual good map makers like Teddy to learn this, or Poplar, winky winky. I'm gonna force you to work more with QGIS, because have you just seen the switch? I'm gonna do this again for Poplar. This is the terraining map. This is the terraining map. This is my map that I made with QGIS. If I don't know how I can make better examples than this, right? Like, yeah, you will have to. Like, it's quite literally, I don't know. It's even more noticeable in the world map, right? Because the world map has lower quality in general. So see, look at this. This is the world map of terraining, and now we're gonna load in my proper made world map. Bam. What else do I have to say? But just switch between terraining and this. I forgot. I've also made a few versions with TopoCrafter. Big spoiler to everybody in chat who wants to learn QGIS: don't learn TopoCrafter. TopoCrafter makes using QGIS 40% easier, maybe. It takes a lot of the freedom and the possibilities, and the main thing, in TopoCrafter you have no impact on what data you're using. I think the best data sets you can get with TopoCrafter are 30 meter accuracy. We're using 1 meter accuracy, right? I think terraining uses 50. I'm not entirely sure on the data sets that terraining is using, but yeah, there is gonna be a very noticeable difference as well. Like, I should have added one topocrafter map just to show you guys the difference. But especially if you zoom out, is this not absurd? How sharp this is? I wholeheartedly, I also don't really have loaded any maps in the last, let me guess. Since I started Los Vagos, I guess I have not looked at any map in the last 8 months, right? So I have not loaded a new Rafterman map. I have not loaded any of the recent 8 months maps. I don't know how the quality is, but at least when I looked the last time, there was nothing out there in this quality. And sharpness, I'm a shit map maker. I'm gonna draw horrible roads in this and gonna make all of this a lot worse. But I just mean the quality of the base maps, right? Because I don't know, I think this is absurd. Because when I imported the low version of Point Sur, which on Google Maps, Point Sur is such an amazing spot, right? And then it looked like this in game. And then I'm gonna show you guys real quick how this actually looks. I'm sure some of my US viewers are perfectly aware of Point Sur, but is this not stunning? Up here, the lighthouse on this crazy hill, and then you have this. This is the land that I want to build on, right? This flat space here behind the coast. I think this is an absolutely stunning area in Google Maps. But then if you're a terraining user, you load this shit into game and it looks like this. And you're like, okay, this is a bad spot. Like, okay, this is not what I want to use. But then is that the fault of terraining or is that the fault of the actual spot? Because I would argue it's the fault of terraining, because as soon as you have a good quality map of this, I think this looks exactly like it does on Google Map, and it's suddenly beautiful and stunning, and I really want to look through this. When you install QGIS, I did a big mistake, Poplar, the first time, and I was very confused by it. If you go on the QGIS website, there is many different versions that you can download. One of them is the online installer. The online installer is beyond confusing, and if you just install everything in the online installer, you quite literally install every release version of QGIS that has ever been released. That's what I did. I was wondering why QGIS is nearly 50 gigabytes big and why the download is taking that long, and I was starting to lose my shit. Download the LDR version, the long support, long stable release, or however it's called. The Bratislava or Bratislava, something like that. That is the release you want. That is the best version, and it's only like 2 gigabytes big, so no problem. Don't install 50 different versions of QGIS than I have done. It's not what you should do. But yes, I very much like it, because again, one of the reasons we're showing this in-game is because I want people to start using QGIS, because I'm gonna make more examples. Sunny Slope, super cool location as well. It looks pretty decent. This is the terraining map. Honestly, not bad. Sometimes terraining does a decent job. And with this, I have to say, not bad. That is definitely a good base to build a map on, right? But now wait. Because now we change to actual proper good maps. And then this is the quality we're getting, right? And I think, Poplar, for you, this is also gonna be one of the big help. You see this, right? Literally, the data is so accurate, I have the roads in here. Like, if we just go in any of the roads, we can literally trace these and just go after them. Because it's so... the quality is so high. Obviously, we can also use an overlay but even just tracing these is gonna be fairly quick and easy. So it's really, really gonna help. The one thing, again, is bathymetric data. I have to still learn. I don't know how to handle that yet. Maybe we do the water manually. I think if you can use data, data is always gonna win against doing it manually. And that is a bit of a sad takeaway, because it takes away a bit of the skill of the map making, I guess, which I'm sure skillful people like Poplar are a bit salty about, because he's actually good at making maps. Meanwhile, I am not, but I'm good at using difficult technical programs and learning them quickly, because that's what I do a lot for work, right? So it's pretty much my second nature to learn new difficult things, because again, I do that for my daily work life all the time. So I'm very used to digging into new topic and learning them. But just look at this, right? Like, obviously this is just a default bridge and it's shit and everything, but look how quickly you can turn these into good maps, right? And when I say, yeah, of course you will, but what I'm trying to say is, when I shit on terraining so much, I need to really also take that back. Terraining is still amazing. I use terraining way more than I use QGIS in this process, because I think some locations, when I have a location I like, I need to see it in game. My lack of brain cells does not allow me to always manage to transfer them correctly, right? Because, for example, this place in Google Maps, I think it's not that interesting. Because in Google Maps, this seems too big, too open spaced, too flat to me. When I look at this in Google Maps, I don't find this to be such an interesting place. If I load this into the game, I think this is an amazing place. And since making QGIS maps takes quite a lot of time, it's tedious in comparison to terraining, and you need to download like 20 gigabytes worth of data for every single map, I think it's great to take terraining maps, get them into the game. Terraining is really easy and nice to find the perfect cut as well, right? If you use terraining, it's really easy to adjust where on the map you're sitting, where you want to be, and everything. So it's a fairly easy process to get into the early stages of it and test around a bit and get an idea of it. And then afterwards, you can go and dive in and load proper maps and really go hard on those. And then again, I think by now we looked at everything of those. I love them. One of the things we want to do now is have a look at Riza's new themes, because I asked Riza if he can make a few map themes for us, because I mean, I have to say I'm quite happy with what we have right now. It's a mix of different themes, and I think it really does work out great for most of these maps. But I want to have a look at the other ones as well, so we're gonna do that. And yeah, obviously you can see sometimes the data also is a bit weird, right? Like here we have a word cut where there is definitely no cut here in real life. But things like this are so easy to fix, who cares? Yes, exactly. And even for not only for prototyping, for me what terraining is the most helpful for figuring out your cut, right? Because once you load the stuff into the game, something like Lake Isabella, for example, here, I think it's also probably the best one to try with a theme on, because it's the most mountains. But if you load it in here, you do see the entire area, right? You see exactly what you have here, and maybe you're like, oh, this place looks really interesting, I want to build in this. And then it's super easy with terraining to just move this over here. If you do this in QGIS, you're restarting your project from zero, right? If you want to adjust the cut in terraining, it's not horrible, but it costs you 20 to 30 minutes. To change the cut of your map in terraining costs you 30 seconds. So yes, for the early stages, absolutely worth gold. I always loaded in terraining maps first, looked at them in game, decided, or is the cut of the world area I'm taking the one that I really want? Is it the area that I want to work with? And then if the answer is yes, then is when I'm gonna start with QGIS. And as well, that means you have the perfect coordinates, right? You can literally take the coordinates from your terraining data and use it straight from there. So worth a lot. Also, please remind me if I forget to switch the scenes. I do that a lot because I'm a shit streamer and a shit map maker and a bad detailer. So please remind me if I forget to switch the scenes. It's gonna happen more than just a few times. And with that, let's have a real quick look at what good or bad things Riza did for us. Where are we here? Oh, you guys actually can't see my browser. I was gonna say, or not my browser, but I'm in my file explorer right now that you guys can't see. So I was gonna say, maybe I dox myself as well, but I guess I don't. Holy. Okay, we loaded the first theme. Actually, this looks really nice. Holy shit, the way the map just changed visually from this is absurd. Yeah, I do that all the time, especially because I am not. Holy, you said 20,000, if I remember correctly. I have little brain cells, so I might remember incorrectly. Maybe you said 200,000. No, 20,000, I guess. So this is the tiling you want me to use? Does he confirm this automatically? I guess I don't need to apply this somehow. The one thing, I think this looks really beautiful. The one thing I have to say, but it's just because I have such a... It's different. Teddy, you have to, before you go lurk, unless you're in a hurry, you have to give me one last input out of all of the maps we went through. Which is the one you found the most interesting that you would like me to work out? And if you're in a hurry, of course, thank you so much for tuning in, Teddy, and have a beautiful evening. But just asking, because I would be interested. And I'm gonna have to see. Because yeah, here the tiling looks really good. Here the tiling looks a lot worse. You're actually right. But the same happens in other themes, right? This is not a you exclusive problem. That is a general problem. The one thing I can tell you is that I think the tiling is fairly noticeable, especially in the cliff texture, which my maps are also a mean example for, because generally you don't see the cliff texture very much. But then this map is pretty much 90% cliff texture, so also hard to get the tiling right. And you're right, here, when it's a bit more mixed, here it looks really good and you don't notice the tiling, but then especially if you're 90 degrees to the tiling, right here, you can really notice every single I have many different maps. I'm interested in the very end of the stream, or now I need decisions as well. One of the reasons we're streaming this today is that I want to decide which map we continue on. Part of the decision is also going to base on where I find mathematic data from, but the maps we have, I'm going to go over them really quick in this map theme, just because I find it interesting as well to see the map theme in different areas. So you can see what we have is 7 different ones. We have Avila Beach, a coastal map. In the coastal maps, please ignore how horrible the ocean looks. Obviously, I've not touched that yet. But this is Avila Beach, a coastal map with all of them have rivers and canyons and something through that. So I really like this. What do you mean money balling? I don't know what money balling means, but no money involved in this. Everything is free. But yes, this is one of the areas. And then the next one is Durango. Durango, actually, I think you would really appreciate, because Durango is very close to the place that you sent me, where you said you want me to do that map. I think Durango is like what you sent me, but cooler. I think a lot cooler, because it has a river through here, right? You see the river here. So in atmosphere, it's very similar to the spot you sent me, but I think due to the canyon and the river, it's more interesting. So this one, I very much like it. All of them, I want to have the ability to play with bridges and ports, though I don't care much about big ships, right? Even in this river looks small, but you have to understand how the scale of these maps looks, right? Because if we take a ship here, but it's just the containers, actually, giving a proper ship, right? This ship fits in here. Obviously, this would not be the perfect river for it to drive, but ferries and smaller boats, perfectly fine, right? Like really perfectly fine. And most likely, I would also make the river a bit wider than it is for this, because yes, I want the possibility to play with bridges and ports. And again, this weird bug that I don't understand. I don't know why this happens. I have this happen all the time, where my terrain... Maybe it's because I have time and weather anarchy in this playset, and it interferes with the map or the theme somehow. I'm not entirely sure. My easiest solution to this is just start a new map, and then it's generally better. And yeah, you're very right, James. The reason I swear on data is not really that I think it's more fun than doing it manually. The reason I swear on data is that I think you cannot by hand, with the tools we have, achieve the same level of detail. That's a very like easy reason for it, right? Because with the terraining tools we have, you cannot get lines as fine as this one. It's just not a thing, right? You cannot get your rocks to look this sharp. It's not possible. As much as I would like this to be a thing, we cannot do this. It's not by hand. You cannot get this as sharp and beautiful. If you could do it by hand, then I wouldn't mind doing it by hand. But the honest truth is, it's just not really a thing, right? So for that reason, yes, I swear on data, just because I was comparing things, and data will win against me in this case. I cannot do this any better than data can do it. And then this again is the one we just looked at, is Lake Isabella. This might be my favorite, though it's also the least fitted for bridges and ports. We could make this very small river here. I would make this a big river. I would bring this river out a lot bigger than it is to this side. And then here a lot of this terrain here is a lake, right? Like all of this here is the water border. So even this could work for bridges and ports. Not perfectly fitted and could be a bit more optimal, but it's not horrible. So this is Lake Isabella. And then we have Lake Tahoe, which I'm kind of tempted to use Lake Tahoe just because Lake Tahoe was the most painful one to build, and I had to go through so much pain to build this that I feel like it also has to pay off. So now I actually feel kind of tempted to build out Lake Tahoe. Again, really fitted for bridges and ports, right? Because I would just, I said this earlier, I would just open this up. I would just make this a wide river opening here into the lake. So we could perfectly have an outside connection here. And then have this land here to build in these small ones. I don't really care about the areas to be accurate to how they are in real life. I want the terrain data because I don't think I can make it better than this. But do I really care about anything outside of the terrain data being accurate? Not in the slightest. We can redo and change everything we want to change. And then again, we have Point Sur, which might be my favorite by now, to be honest. I think Point Sur is really cool as well. Very little buildable area. And we can get water data for this, so that gets it even more interesting. And then as a very last one, we have Sunny Slope. And now, after you've seen all of them, even though fairly quickly, of course, I'd be super curious in which ones you guys would like to see me spend a lot of time on, because I am very indecisive for now, just because I think many of these are really beautiful. I wholeheartedly think eventually I will work all of them out, just because I enjoy map making. Is one of the things I learned. I already tried learning and detailing some of the maps a little as well. I have not saved any of that because I want to learn it, which is the third out of all of the ones I showed. So if you say the third, it's Grand Tetons. Or this is the third position on your rating. Yeah, this is the last one. So you mean the third one, this one. Oh, okay, so this one. I find it really difficult. I mean, this one also pretty interesting for bridges and ports, because this river really is gigantic. This one, what I find a bit boring about this is that this is a lot of land, right? It seems smaller than it is. I also always need to do this to get a better understanding, but to give a good understanding of the size of these maps, for me, it helped using some of the industrial signature buildings, because you guys know how massive these are in game, right? Like this is massive in game. This is a really big area. I think this might be a bit bigger than what I'd like to have available to build for. I think all of them are pretty worried in elevation, to be honest. But yeah, you have a point that it's a bit difficult. I mean, to use water, I will have to sculpt the rivers probably. Yes, we can already pretend to put water in here, but it's not gonna work properly yet. But just to give a little idea, I guess, of how this could look with water, we can flood the lower part of the river. This is how. Obviously, this is an ocean and not a river, and I'd want a proper flow in this. And here is gonna struggle because the elevation doesn't go high enough anymore. And I think it's very interesting. Yes, I get what you mean, and I don't disagree. I'm not saying this is a bad map, but I personally, when I look at these maps, I think the ones that I am the very most tempted by personally, I think I actually really like Avila Beach. Surprisingly, I did not have very high thoughts of this one in the start. The reason I like this so much is that I think, yes, it is a lot flatter, but it has so many small canyons, right? Like, I can build here on the hillside. I really want to build on the hillside, and I think this is a great map to build on hillside as well. And then you have all of these canyons, right? Where everywhere here, we can build on the hillside of these canyons. And all of these small canyons, we can still go through those, right? Because they look smaller than they are. Like, this is not that small. Again, we're gonna do what we just did and go in buildings, have a look at our industrial buildings, and take a really big signature building. Yes, here, suddenly this seems big, but that's also what I want. And what I like about this map is that it does have flat areas still. Because the truth is, sometimes I will need to have some open space to put some industry or something, right? And yes, it has less elevation than the other ones, but especially here in the backland, I think there is... This one really inspires me, because it has so many cool different places, right? So... yeah, I knew it, but then I couldn't stop myself, because for me, a lot of making so many of these is also been learning, right? Now I feel very comfortable in QGIS. If you were like, hey, I want this part of the world as a heat map, I can make you that till tomorrow, and it's not gonna cost me that much time. And at the start, one of these maps cost me 6 or 8 or 10 hours or something, so really difficult. And now I'm very quick, so I think a lot of why I did so many was also just learning to get better at it. Okay, we're gonna try B3 is what you say. I like it. Actually, this one is very pretty as well. What I'm missing in yours, Riza, at least in the ones we looked at so far, is color. What I like so much about the arid theme I was using is the cliff texture. Because I think, right, see, even if we take this one, and I think this one gets even nicer if I exchange the cliff texture for arid, because I just love these red rocks. I don't know why. I think it's nostalgia of traveling through Arizona so much. I think all of your themes are really pretty and add a lot of nice variety, so I actually wholeheartedly think these are great, beside the little tiling issues you still have. But when I think about what theme I'm thinking about for these maps, I do see a lot of red in there. So I do think what I'm missing in the themes you made is color. Before I lie, I'm also gonna look at this last one, because maybe this is a bit more colorful actually, especially the flat dirt surface. Yeah, I mean, I think you should check out this theme, because I think this theme has a really shitty grass surface. I don't like this grass surface much, because it gets too dark. But I think what looked really good for me for most of these maps is if I take the arid theme for the cliff texture, and then anything else for the other ones, right? Like, for example, if we use your grass and your dirt, but we keep the arid theme cliff, I think that works great together, right? Look at this. It gives this a lot more color and makes it more interesting So yes, my feedback to your themes would be they look really beautiful, but I personally would love to have a little more color in them. But I do think, surprisingly, this might be my very favorite out of all of them. I find it so difficult because really all of them are really inspiring. Durango also gives a lot of possibilities because I'm a bit surprised that you say the maps are too flat, Riza, because I don't think any of these maps are flat. Look at the elevation we have here. Let's ignore the water being up there. I'm too lazy to reset it right now. Hold on. Let's try B1 or B2. Why did he unload the other one suddenly? I guess you can only have one recent one. This is not cracked, but wholeheartedly, I like this a lot, honestly. And I guess I do have to reset the water real quick, because we're literally drowning. But yes, I also think this is really inspiring, because unlike what you just said, Riza, I think this one has a shitload of elevation. Like, look, this hill, for example, I would want to build on top of there. And we quite literally have the hilly roads here already, going through the terrain. I would probably trace some of these, not all of these. But I think this is really interesting, because all of these places, especially here, these raised plateaus, actually, that's very hard to see here. This has a lot of texture up close. Okay, B1. Then we're gonna change and load the B1 and then exchange the cliff texture with a red one again. Yeah, honestly, the sand of all of them I think is nice, but yes, I see what you mean. I actually think, while I generally say, oh, never mind, I need to put your 20,000. I was gonna say it's a bit too small, but that was just my tiling issue. Because yeah, you're right. Now that actually looks very nice. This is a beautiful sand texture. Yeah, wholeheartedly. This looks great with the cracks. Especially this works really nice as well with the arid cliff one. I do think I really want to keep this red arid one, but yes, actually you get more structure with your dirt on top than with the arid seam itself. So very interesting. Yeah, ignore the climate. I've not looked into climate yet. I don't fully understand the climate. I don't understand why we keep having this weird effect with the middle of our map being perfectly sunny and warm and fine, but then right next to it we have this, and I don't know why this is happening. Teddy earlier said that shouldn't happen, so maybe that's because I have time and weather anarchy in my playset. I don't know. But yes, this one also really tempts me. I think very interesting terrain. It's just difficult because wholeheartedly I made too many good maps. I agree with what Kaya said, because this one I guess is probably one of the weaker ones, which hurts me a bit, because I think it's beautiful, but yes, here I'm inclined to agree with Riza that this is a bit too much flat open area. Though in all fairness, all of this here would be water, right? So this would look quite a bit different if we do this. And then this is a lake that would also be full. And then all of this would be full. And here we'd have a river and a second river. So it would be a lot less land than it is. But I guess not optimal. And why is the water not coming yet? Okay. Why do I not see the contour lines anymore? Should I not see the contour lines of the water when I drag this? I mean, we see the water, but we don't see the contour lines that we've seen prior. Well, again, just forget about water for now. I'll figure that eventually. But yes, with this, I'm actually very inclined to agree with Riza that this is a bit too flat. No, because I agree. I wholeheartedly agree that one of the reasons why I made all of these maps is because I really want to be challenged by terrain and little buildable space, right? And this one has that, especially in this area. But I think compared to some of the other ones we made, it's a lot less the case, right? So it's not just that you said that, it's also that I very much agree with you. It's why I focus so much on that point. Because I do think it makes it a lot more boring if the terrain challenges you less. This one I do think is very cool, because again, all of this flat open space here in the middle would be lake and river. And then you have this terrain outside here around it. So this would also be a lot of hillside building, right? Where we build in very steep terrain around the area. The one thing I've not figured out yet, what happens if I use a dam in the editor? I mean, yes, please do it. I could need that. But I actually, one thing I totally don't know. No, I know nothing about climate. Poplar, please help me. How can I make this? How can I stop half of my map being in snow all the time? How can I turn off rain? How can I do any of this? Please help me. I have not had time to look into climate yet. The only thing I figured about climate is that if I go in here and I take one that is hot, I think I usually took this one because this one is very hot. But I have no idea how I control rain or anything else. Yes, this is day of the year. This is cloudiness that is already on 0. And this is time of the day. Yeah, but should this not be off if this is on 0? I guess it actually is off. Hold on, it was because we loaded a new map earlier and this reset. I did turn this onto 0 earlier. That's why I was confused, but yes, thank you. Because whether wholeheartedly I don't understand, I mainly don't understand why this is happening. Is this a mod conflict I have, or is this normal behavior, Poplar? What I don't understand yet is how I would adjust any of these. I think it's probably time and weather anarchy. Because I thought I can use time and weather anarchy in the editor. So I put time and weather anarchy into my playset. But
have a great time.
I think it has bad effects on the editor, so probably that. Alright, thank you so much for the themes. All of them look very nice again. Only thing I'm lacking is more color. If you can get them more red orangey, then beautiful. And with that, have a wonderful evening and night, and thanks for tuning in, mate. But yes, the more I think about it, I think this map is beautiful because it sucks a bit because the mountains you cannot really see right now. The relaunch does not take that long in this. I think we're gonna go on Google Maps and I'm gonna close the game really quick and remove time and weather anarchy just to see if that makes the weather behave a bit more normal, because this tells me And then I would also ask you a few questions about climate, if that's okay, Poplar, because I am a bit lost on the climate part for now. I don't fully understand climate. I'm gonna jump into Sky real quick that you can't see, so don't wonder, nothing is happening right now. Really just wanna remove time and weather anarchy. Okay, I removed time and weather anarchy and we're restarting the game. No, I have your mod disabled right now as well, so your mod should also not do that. I enable that if I play in Los Vagos, but then the truth is I have not really played in Los Vagos yet again since the patch, because I'm still waiting for Sully to finish the sim fix he's been working on. I think after the sim fix is done, I am gonna try again to load back into Los Vagos. So there is one other thing, if Jay is still here. Jay, how is it looking about the dome tires? Because I use those dome tires a lot. I would actually be a bit sad if we lose them. But yes, this place here, for example, has been really confusing to me, because if you look at Avila Beach, the one that we just looked at together, where I said it's one of my favorites, I don't think it looks that interesting in game or in Google Maps. Yes, it's a cool place, especially because it has what I showed. It has a lot of these hillside areas, and I think that's very nice. But this place surprised me positively in game. I found it a bit less interesting in Google Maps. What I do find very interesting is this place where... Can somebody explain me what these are for? Are these hydration storage for water? Are these fields? Why? What are these circles? I've been looking at this yesterday, trying to understand already. I asked about the tires, the dome tire pack, because you said that potentially you found a way to fix them. And I use those tires surprisingly much, so that actually is a bit of a hurtful loss to me. Well, the truth is I also been having so much fun with this map stuff that I've been not minding at all not loading into Los Vagos for the moment. So not too bad. But this place is really weird. I guess it has to be irrigation, because this one is full with water already. But it seems weird the way they place this. A company name? You mean to find out what this is? I guess that actually is a good idea. We have everything. There's nothing tagged here at all. Wholeheartedly, it's not a single place marked in this area. Can we? Yeah, no, it's no street view either. This entire area is not allowed for us to go in, really. Yeah, I was thinking the same. So curious to have something like this, which I still would love to find out what this is. Maybe I'll Google afterwards, because I'm interested. And then, yeah, you have the golf court right here next to it. This also, I think building golf courts is not that interesting because so many people have done it. But I have to admit that if there is a golf court I would like to build, then this one is really cool. Spanning this entire canyon, being around these houses, I think is a beautiful place for that. I guess so, but why Mormons? I mean, yes, the US is full of Mormons, so No, but I don't think they're usually that cut off from everything else. Usually they just take normal part in life, to be honest. But yes, I'm wholeheartedly really positively surprised by this area. And then again, what I also like is that back here we would have space. Like if we really build on this area for a long time, we could fit an airport. There even is an airport here, but it would be really nice. And I guess maybe my internet just cut out again. I don't know why my internet has been so unreliable lately. It's been a lot better in the past, but then these last days my internet really has been finicky. Okay, never mind, I'm too fast. I thought the game has loaded and we can tap back in, but we can't yet. But yes, I think this might start to be my favorite place. This one also really interesting, though I think this one actually is a bit less interesting, because here... Yeah, I guess German internet is German internet. Or what do you mean that compared to? You mean that for my stream dying, right? Because yeah, then I guess it's German internet. It's just weird because I did not have problems with my internet being unreliable. It's always been slow and kinda shit, but really not as unreliable. But the reason I prefer the other map over this what is PCH1? I think this in general is a beautiful area, but I don't know what PCH1 is. Oh, yeah, I think in general, all of these roads here are stunning. It's a crazy area, really. But if I compare it to how interesting it would be to build in Avila Beach, for example, I think Avila Beach wins against Big Sur. Because we have so much more small canyon and hilly area here that we can actually properly build in. So I think I prefer this spot. And also welcome in, Baga. I never know how to pronounce your name correctly. I'm gonna try Baganario, but I'm never sure how to properly pronounce it, so I hope I didn't butcher it too bad. I probably did. And finally, our game is doing progress. We're not done yet. Powered loading. Why can you not see my game yet? I can see my game already. Do I need to change the scene? No. Alright, happy. I mean, I just don't want to butcher names of people that might enjoy it. I'm good, but I'm losing my mind. I made many different starter points for a map to decide what we're gonna play on after Los Vagos, and I can't decide. I think actually Avila Beach might be one of my very favorites. Again, ignore how the ocean looks. The ocean is horrible, but yeah, the more I look at it, I think Point Sur is out. I think I disqualify this. I mean, it also has space, but yeah, this is very tight. Oh, alright. I mean, that's funny, because that's how, if I watch Twitch, then that's exactly what I'm often doing. Run around and clean, and welcome in Mother as well. Yeah, no worries, Urban. Thanks for tuning in. Always nice to see you. But yeah, I think in comparison to the other map we have, this does not do it. And did I overwrite his map on accident again, or did I not? I did it. I don't know why I keep doing that today. These buttons are my worst enemy. I don't know who decided that it's a great idea to have import and export right on top of each other. They look exactly identical. I keep on accident exporting instead of importing. So I managed to overwrite the world map of this again. It's not a problem. We have all of them local and I can just re-add it to my game. But I still think this is absolutely horrible UI design. And I don't know why they did that. But yes, the more we look at maps, I think my 3 favorites are Avila Beach, Lake Tahoe, and either Durango or Sunny Slope. It's 3 maps in pretty different styles, with Lake Tahoe being very... What is the world map? Hold on, we want to do this the right way first. All of them would allow play for bridges and ports. I think because I want to play with the bridges and ports, the favorites actually should be Sunny Slope, Lake Tahoe, and Avila Beach. I think those 3 are our favorites. And I find it very difficult to decide between them. This one, again, I really like. I think it's similar to Avila Beach, even though it's not a coastal map, but a lake map. I really like the entire environment of this. And I love this. I love how much weird, small, terrainy area in canyons and how much hills we have here in the backland. What Avila Beach is quite a lot more interesting is open space, because if we really want to build something big on this as well, we are gonna have problems. We don't really have place to load something really big. I want to compare... I'm interested on the people in chat right now. We're gonna compare Durango and Sunny Slope. And I'm curious on your opinion between those 2 maps. This is Durango. Durango has a lot smaller river than the other ones, but it has these nice plateaus and crazy cliff sides here. So I think visually from the river, this actually looks amazing. Like if you imagine being down here in the river. And I know the scale is hard to understand. I can only always repeat this. This river looks super small, and it is kinda small, but it is bigger than you would imagine just looking at it. Because again, if you take this cargo ship, I don't know why it does that sometimes. It did that yesterday as well and didn't load in, and I don't know why. Because it will also not do that anymore. But again, even with just the windows, we can kinda watch the side. These ships would perfectly fit in here, right? Yes, I would not want a ship as big on the river like this one. Yeah, I don't know why this happened. I had the same issue yesterday. Oh, actually, never mind. I guess it just took a long time. But yes, surely this boat would be too big because it couldn't take the corner here. So this is not going to be the size of boat. I'm just putting this in here as a size comparison, not because I think this is an appropriate ship for the river. Because really, I think the size of this river is very fitting for the ferries, for example. I have not even looked at the ferries, but I guess we should be able to find them as well. Prop ferry, yeah, look. Perfect river to have some light ferry traffic, right? And then I think the terrain in this is a bit more interesting than in the other one. I guess the river is more interesting in the other one because it allows for more proper shipping. So I personally think I prefer Sunny Slope, but I'm curious what you guys feel about this. Again, gonna have to take the water and reset the water. Also, it looks like the weird snow thing that we kept having happening was totally time at weather anarchy. So don't use time at weather anarchy in the editor. That was a map or mod issue. And yeah, the fog is a bit annoying. That's because this map is kinda low. This river is really wide, right? Like, if we take the ship again that we just had, or even just the ferry, look, the ferry is tiny in this, right? Like, this is an actual crazy wide river. So here we could literally use any kind of ships, right? We can take these very big cargo ships, and even those look tiny on this river, right? Which I think quite cool to have a proper bridges and ports built within a river and not in the ocean. Obviously, in the real life location of this has this, which is a dam. I would just remove the dam. I don't want a dam in this because I want this to be fully shippable. I wouldn't mind a dam to one side so that the ship can only go to one outside connection, but I would not want a dam to be as central in our buildable area. So a bit difficult. Wholeheartedly, I'm a bit buttered that I again deleted the world map of... I'm gonna try something. What happens if I replace the world map while we're in the game already? I don't think it's gonna load, but just for science, because I would love you to see my favorite build again. Because really, the truth is I have one favorite build that I think wins against all of the other, or not builds, but maps, and I think it's the Avila Beach is actually the single most interesting. It took me a while to realize that, but the more I talk about the maps and look at them while this stream, the more I think it's the nicest one. And I'm just still a bit frustrated that I overwritten it, but let's see. I just replaced it, so maybe we can load the correct heat map or world map again. Because I think if he already has this in here, he loads the file and that should work, but moment of truth is in a second.
Bye, have a great time.
It worked! Nice, okay, that's actually good for me to know. Alright, mate, have an absolute wonderful good night, Chaos, and thanks for tuning in. But yes, I do think now we can see all of this properly again. I think this is my very favorite out of all of them. The mountains are a bit less interesting than in some other maps, I have to agree myself, so I think this mountain range here in the background is very beautiful again. So, it's not like it's terrible, but yes, terrain-wise, some of the other ones are a bit more interesting, but this one just feels like it overflows me with creativity. Like this one really feels like it's gonna build by itself, because there is so many cool features in this that I think it's very difficult to not turn this into a beautiful map, to be honest. But I'm so curious. Like by now we went over all of them so many times. Gaga, for example, I'm not sure how much you were here, but if you were paying some attention, then what is your favorite out of all of the ones we've been looking at? Half. I'm gonna show you I'm just gonna show my 3 favorites, because I think by now we boiled it down. I think we boiled it down to 3 favorites. This, I think, is my current absolute favorite. Yeah, don't worry, Gaga. Never a problem. I'm the same. I often, when I watch Twitch, I often like do dishes in the background or clean or something. So I'm listening, but not fully seeing most of it. So I can relate a lot. But yes, I think my current favorite out of all of them is this one, because is the one that inspires me the very most. And then the other favorites we have are, I think I have... It's difficult. I think I can cut some out. I think the two weakest ones we have are Grand Tetons and Point Sur. And then we have the others left still. We have Durango. Yeah, I'm gonna cut Durango as well. These three are out. I'm gonna take Lake Isabella in again, which I think Lake Isabella probably is also out. But let's have a look at it. This is Lake Isabella. It's a bit difficult to tell, but all of this big part here in the middle, this is all a lake, right? So we have a lot of water body here in the middle, and then we would work around the water body here in the hillside around the water. So honestly, also pretty inspiring. What I like about this one is would allow us to build a lot of bridges and something. The terrain itself is more boring in this than in some other areas, though even here we have some nice canyons to build on, especially on the side. So I think it's really good. What this map is the best at, I think, is the mountains. I think the landscape in this map is stunning. I don't think any of the other maps gets close to the beauty of the landscape. So it's difficult to take this out. If it's about building on the map, I think this is probably number 4 and not in the top 3. This definitely is in the top 3, the Lake Tahoe one. We looked at this together, Gaga, and this is the final version of it. I think Lake Tahoe turned out beautiful. Because if you look at Lake Tahoe, we have so many of these small canyons here that go into the backland. And we have a beautiful oceanfront highway here going along. And then we would build in the hillsides here behind the highway. And here we actually have a bit more open space as well. Not super much, but kinda. I also do think this is really inspiring, especially looking at these canyons back here. I think this also is a map that would pretty much build itself. So definitely in my top 3. And then as a last one again is Sunny Slope, which in this one is one thing is very obvious. The Sunny Slope one is too low. I need to re-render this and move this up in terrain quite a bit. This map is in the wrong elevation. I can correct that fairly easily though, so not a big problem. This is Sunny Slope. Also pretty mountain, so visually I think also very nice. Maybe the least inspiring in terrain, to be honest. Though probably the most interesting in regard to building an interesting harbor, because I think river harbors are gonna be more interesting than ocean ones, because we'll see so many ocean harbors that I think it's gonna be very refreshing to see a river harbor in comparison. So wholeheartedly, out of those 3 or 4 that I just showed, Avila Beach, Lake Isabella, Lake Tahoe, or Sunny Slope, which is your 1 or 2 favorites? I wholeheartedly struggle. I think this is probably the weakest out of those. I think the very 2 strongest ones are Avila Beach and Lake Tahoe. And with Lake Tahoe, I'm not very scared that somebody else is gonna take this place away and make a map before us. Because Lake Tahoe is really difficult to map due to overlapping time zones. So I think most people won't be able to make Lake Tahoe in QGIS. So with Lake Tahoe, we can take our time. Avila Beach is so cool. I think Avila Beach might get done by somebody. But yeah, it's so difficult. Wholeheartedly, I think the more I talk about it, I just love Avila Beach. I think this is probably the map we're gonna work on. Yes, now actually we're gonna do some really interesting research. And this is gonna be a bit of a tricky one because I suck at geography and we would need to be good at geography. Let's have a quick look. Avila Beach is close to what do we have here? Is a bit on top of LA. Yeah? So we're gonna go to this, and this is gonna confuse you guys. Don't be too panicked. I just want to see if we by chance are able to get some ocean data here. Because this is a website where we should be able to check if there is some available ocean data. Here is LA. Let's have a quick look again. LA. And then we outside King, then we go down, then we go far out, and we're a bit on top of that. So let's try to follow the same here. We're here, we go out, we should be here, somewhere here or here. Is this where we are? It's so difficult in this map because the labeling is so different to the other one that I always struggle a bit. I think we're here actually. This looks like where we are. Yes, Avila Beach. Okay, we found it. Nice, perfect. Yeah, here. We're right here. This is where we are. And now we are gonna go and draw a rectangle here. This website is really confusing. Yesterday I spent a lot of time trying to understand this website that is made from like 500 years ago and doesn't work very well. Oopsala. We need to turn on the DM footprints. And now we should be able to see if we can find something. Draw a rectangle about the area we care about. And now we can see there is 11 different data ones. The one we care about are the second ones. Everything that has a minute is going to be a bit too inaccurate for us. Even this is a bit inaccurate. The best ones are these. I wish actually, can we take away our squirm? Damn it. I'm just going to click there. Yeah, that's better because now I think it marks the area for us. This is the perfect data for us, and we can get water data for this area. I don't know how to work with bathemic data yet, so that will be a lesson for me. But we can get data for it, so that makes that even more interesting. Now I want to do the second check as well and have a look at this. Oh, oops, not this. Am I blind? This. And we're gonna click into Lake Tahoe and see in Lake Tahoe 3 arc seconds is the best we can get. That's not terrible. I think 3 arc seconds is like 10 meter accuracy, roughly, which is a tenth of what we have on our land, but then it's underwater, so it's not horrible. So we get water data for both of the spots that I find the most interesting. With that, we can go back to the game. I just really was wondering if that's a thing, because yes, obviously, I don't mind if we have to do it by hand either, but I think data is just gonna look better than anything we can do by hand. So I'm gonna try and see if I can manage to also get the water data into this heat map. It's probably gonna take me a while and I'm gonna have to research a lot for that, but I'm gonna try my best at least. And yeah, the more I talk about it, I think we have our 2 favorites. I might actually ask people in my Discord as well, because this seems like a big decision for the channel, and ask about it. But yeah, sorry, Lake Tahoe and Avila Beach are probably our 2 favorite locations. And right now I would say Avila Beach is probably the most interesting ones out of all of them, where I wholeheartedly think this is gonna be absolutely stunning. I mean, I'm kind of tempted to even just to visualize the area a little bit. Hold on, we're gonna do really quick and dirty, do some terraforming. This is gonna look really bad for now, but I just wanna get the visuals of this in. Oopsala, that's the wrong. Why did I do that? Wrong brush. Again, none of this is gonna stay like this. We're just gonna real quick and dirty get this a bit. Oh, that's not gonna work how I imagine it to work. We need to pull different steps in here. I just care about it here in the middle, in front of where we're building, to get one area to look a bit more realistic. If we draw a few steps in like this, and obviously this is way too deep, right? Like the ocean in an area like this would not fall as quickly as it's doing here. It's just so we can manage to get some water in and look a little less horrible than it does right now. Obviously, we would take 100 times longer and do this a lot more accurate if we would try to build a proper map here. Yeah, no, I terraform. It's one of the reasons why I feel more comfortable doing a map. I used to be really shit at terraforming. I've actually gotten quite good at terraforming in Los Vagos, because we did terraform a shitload in Los Vagos. So in the past, I always felt very inconfident in terraforming. Now I feel okay about it. I really, again, we're not gonna. All of this is gonna be flooded by water in a second now. This is a right border, and we need it roughly there. Probably need to correct that a bit. Did I take the higher contour line instead of the lower one? Yeah, hold on. This is not what we wanted to do. The heck? Why did I take why was the contour line the higher one? And why do the contour lines disappear? We had the same problem in the last map. Why do I now not see them anymore? Yeah, I also, it shows more than one sea level, and sometimes it's the higher one, sometimes it's the lower one, and right now it also does not show the contour line anymore, which I think we still nailed it, even without contour line now. So I think we're fine, but yes, same thing. It seems to be different for some of them. Generally, it's the lower of the two sea levels. But for this, it was the higher one. I don't understand why. Are we not in a water tub? Maybe, I'm not sure, to be honest. I'm learning the editor, I have no experience at this, and obviously here this is horrible and our land shows through, but it's giving a bit better idea. We're probably gonna have to take the brush a lot smaller, and we're just gonna put a lower level here in the cut. Again, this looks horrible. I just wanna see how this looks. Actually, that's a really good tip. I like that. Yeah, the level we want is a bit lower than what we have here. Something like this. Target height -2. Actually, we're just gonna flat out put it on 0 if we can. But how does that make sense? Look, this is way different. the terrain heat we just take is 0, but our sea level is at 600. And now we have the contour lines again without me changing anything. Wholeheartedly, big question for me. Why this behaves the way it does. Otherwise, it would have been a great tip, but it doesn't match up at all, if you see what I mean. Again, I've not really looked into water sources a bit. I played around a bit with understanding the constant level ones. I was watching your video yesterday, Poplar, and seeing what you say is in specific about these, and just because we're not gonna, before we start properly building in the editor, the first thing we're gonna do is a learning in the editor. So a lot of the things we're gonna do in future is just trying things out, then deleting them again and resetting to 0, right? But these are actually pretty self-explanatory. I was quite happy with these, and I love how small you can make them. So generally pretty happy with that. Obviously, unless we're super lucky, this river is not gonna properly flow yet, because we have not carved this river properly. So we probably don't have the correct elevation for this to work out. Actually curious, because here, that seems like that might actually work out quite well from the get-go. Let's have a look at if this actually might work. Okay, it's actually a bit too... Is a tad too high. So we want this maybe at 6 instead. Even that seems a tad too high still. With these things, we're gonna have to learn and try around a bit. I have no clue about any of this yet. I'm learning the editor together with you guys pretty much. The only thing I've done in the editor in the past is custom assets, but I've never loaded a heat map or anything in that regard till 3 days ago. So again, baby steps. We're learning slowly. I think I knocked out the biggest challenge of all of them for now, and it's learning QGIS properly, because I feel very comfortable in QGIS now. I feel very uncomfortable about everything else in the editor. So we'll have to learn, but yeah, here it's already obvious. Here, this is not gonna keep flowing anymore, because we're raising in terrain here. So obviously, we will most likely have to go through here and carve out the river. I would probably want to make it a bit wider than it is anyways. And here, this is definitely flowing too high. So, again, we would have to... How do you adjust the flow the best, Poplar? You just try around. I guess in this case, it should be the heat that is more relevant than the radius for how much water we're flowing through this. What do you mean? I don't follow. Or you mean that you put your map too low, so you cannot go far below it? Yeah, that's one of the lessons I learned very early, is raise your map up high enough so that people can build tunnels below. I think Ancient Swan mentions that. Yeah, makes sense. But you should be able to adjust that fairly easy. Like, for me, in QGIS, I can literally re-export every map at the level I want to. Like, if I would want this 100 meter higher or lower, then I just have to re-export that map a single time to get it higher or lower. So, not sure how that behaves for you. But for me, that would actually be quite doable. I guess in terraining, you can also do that in TopoCrafter. You can't adjust the elevation. TopoCrafter is shit. I recommend everybody to stay away from TopoCrafter. Because it's like, when you learn TopoCrafter, you're learning 70% of what you'd have to learn for QGIS anyways, and you add a lot of complexity and difficulty to the process, but you don't get any of the reward from it because you still don't get the freedom to adjust everything like you do in QGIS. How have you made the map back then, Baganario? And I guess you're probably building on it already as well. Actually, I'm surprised how well this, obviously not perfect here, this is overflow, but I'm generally surprised how well this works without any manual input. So I would have never thought that we're flowing this far. So very positively surprised how this is working out. In fact, I'm tempted to try the same here really quick. I think we're gonna add a holy, please stop. Way too high, way too big, way too not what we want. Now this I also don't understand. Why do I not see the outline of the water source here, like we did in the other one? Should I not also see the outline of this? Because I don't know where my water source is. Should be somewhere here. Oh, it's here. No? Yeah, I don't know. Again, I'm shit at the editor, we're learning together, but oh, now it shows. I don't understand that, why the water outlines sometimes show and why they don't. Oh, actually, yeah, I'm blind, you're right. There is a locate. Thank you. I'm actually legally blind, but why is there not a locate? Oh, this is the other one. Okay, okay. Never mind, I've said nothing. Yes, thank you. Very insightful. This one obviously still is too high. We can live with flooding again. All of this is just for science. I don't fully understand what I need this for yet. With how the I don't feel like I need this. The water features in the editor. I'm not entirely sure. I'm also curious, Poplar maybe has some good ideas for us. Poplar, what go-to map or mods do you have in the editor as well, on top of the basic mods you're adding? And can we not also just cheese the river? Is this a viable technique? If you would have your water not flowing as far as you want, does it not make sense to just add a new source? This to 3 as well, take this to 2 roughly as well, and then we just move it here. Ignore that big water bubble, it's gonna disappear. But is this not a perfectly viable way to just cheese and just put multiple water sources over the entire flow of the river? And welcome in, Nomis, nice to see you. Nomis, you actually will have to answer the same question that everybody else has been or needed to answer me today. We're looking at different kind of possible future maps that we could work on. I think this is our current favorite, so we're not trying around with this for no reason. I think this is probably the map we're gonna work on in the future. But I'd be interesting to hear if you have any other preferences. We had 7 favorites, by now we're down to 2 or 3 favorites. So we made quite a bit of progress in deciding what we want to build on. And then after we decided, we're gonna have a hand at actually working these maps out. I'm gonna show you our other candidates after we let the water run for a little longer, just for science. But yes, I think I have to sculpt less than I thought I would. I want the river deeper, because I don't like how it disappears if it's that flat. But I think it's less work to carve this out than I figured it would be, because it's flowing pretty alright already. My computer is kinda shit. I don't wanna... Well, I guess we can boost it a little, but I on accident put it to 100... Where is it even? I put it to 128 yesterday, and my computer immediately started stuttering. So let's see, 8 is probably perfectly fine. But yes, even this is immediately eating my FPS, so... Not the biggest fan, but... Honestly, this is already pretty interesting for me as a test, because it flows a lot further than I would have imagined it to flow. I would have thought, because this is not sculpted at all yet, it would be right in there. World of Warcraft. See, I never played World of Warcraft. Many of my friends did, but if I would have told my parents as a teenager that I want to pay money monthly to play a video game, they would have kicked me out of the house and be like, "Rich, you retarded." And yeah, for fair reason. I don't know. Nowadays, I think World of Warcraft is still... It seems like a good game, but I don't think if you have played it as a teenager or a young adult, and you don't have the nostalgia factor to it, it's just a 20-year-old game that did not age relatively special, so I don't think I could ever enjoy World of Warcraft, because I did in the past. Yeah, I've seen that. I will again. I have not looked into anything because I was just learning QGIS for now. It's one of the next steps that we learn a lot about water, and then we figure how to build a map like this one out. So it's all an early process. We don't care too much for now. We're just researching. But wholeheartedly, this map is beautiful. I think this is most likely what we're gonna play on. Yeah, I've seen this, I know, but I don't want to play around with that too much yet. I would actually like to abandon this and show Nomis the other alternative, because I'd be curious what Nomis thinks about. This is our current favorite map, obviously very early and shit, and the water level is not correct, so take everything with a grain of salt. But what I like about this map so much is not only that it has a very pretty waterfront, but it has all of these pretty canyons here in the backland, right? So we could build all of these nice little canyons out. We can build on the hillsides here. I think this just offers a lot of really interesting places to build on. So wholeheartedly big fan of this. And then the other second big candidate that we have is Lake Tahoe, which I also think is really inspiring. Oh, why did we import world map? Import his map. I always have to check this in the top now, since I keep overwriting stuff on accident, so I'm gonna be careful that we stop doing that. This would be Lake Tahoe. Obviously, the water is gonna be horrible, so I'm gonna heat out all of the water and just turn the water level down and reset it. Now our terrain here looks very weird because of the water stuff we just set, so... Oh! It's correcting itself, that's very friendly. What did I do? Did I on accident load the wrong one, or did I overwrite something again? Oh, I just clicked the wrong one. Yes, this would be Lake Tahoe, which fairly similar in vibe. All of this flat space here, obviously, I think you can imagine, but this cut here, the outer one, this is all the lake, right? Like this entire big area here in the middle. We either have to look at what water data I can download, or we have to scope this manually. But I also think this is very inspiring to build through all of these small canyons here. I think the ocean map is even more inspiring than this, though they have very similar features in regard to that. I really like these cramped small canyons where we'd have to work with terrain a lot and fiddle our way through here, and I love that the data we use is so accurate that we can at least some of the roads quite literally trace them through. So this could be a candidate. I think these are the two very favorite maps I have, and then there is two other ones that I think are a good candidate as well. And one of them is Lake Isabella, and this one, because you just said cool mountains, I think this one is the very prettiest in terrain out of all of them. Like if you look at these mountains here, I think that just looks beautiful. I think it's more boring in where we build, because this again here all would be the lake. Everywhere here where it's flat, where we don't have data, that's water. So also interesting, but we'd mainly be building in these small areas here around the lake, which honestly, the more I look at this, I think this deserves to be in our top 3, maybe more than the very last one. I still think could be interesting, and the very last one that could be interesting is Sunny Slope, because this one very different but also fairly interesting. This is the least interesting in terrain. What I like so much about this is the White River, because this is an absolute gigantic river flowing through here, where we could literally use big container ships. So I don't know. I think this is probably the most interesting one. Yeah, if you want to build a big city, yeah, but then I don't really want to build a big city. So I think for us personally, the more I think about it, this probably is the weakest one. I mean, you don't have to build a big city. You can also just build a village here, but I find it more interesting to build in shitty terrain, and here the terrain is not that shitty. Like here, this is actually pretty forward to build in, and I would like it to be a bit shittier. If we ever want to build a really big map or a really big save, then I think this would be cool. So the more I look at it, I also think this has a bit of a bad cut, because I think there is too little terrain to properly build here. I think the world cut should be further to the right, so you get, because there is no buildable terrain here in these mountains much. So I think the playable area should start somewhere here, that you keep all of this small terrain here, but you gain a lot more on this side. Yeah, I'm gonna disqualify this from the top spots. I think our 3 favorites are Lake Isabella, Avila Beach, and Lake Tahoe. And out of those, we have to decide. My current favorite is definitely this one. I don't know. I think this map just has the most potential for me personally to build on. Not for anybody. It really depends on what you plan to do, but I think for me personally, this would be a really fitting map that I would have a lot of fun building on. So yeah, I think it's this one, though the mountains actually are nearly the most boring in this one, which is funny, because I really care about the mountains being interesting, but the mountains in the playable area here are not as interesting. The one in the world map are very pretty, so I don't mind. I will really have to have a look at water data and how to work with water data and see if I can get something in. Like, yeah, wholeheartedly. Difficult to decide. Out of all of the ones you've seen, Nomis and both Baganario, which two is the choices? And Brucey as well, maybe, if Brucey's here. Though I guess Brucey does not play the game very much. I think Brucey only ever does mods, but does not really dive much into actually playing the game. Or am I wrong with that? Honestly, just this canyon, and this front here, only this area alone is so inspiring. I want to build on this. I do think the decision has been made. I do think Avila Beach is the next one to tackle after Los Vagos. Would you guys enjoy building or watching me work out this map and eventually build on it? It's gonna be a long project. I don't want to stop playing Los Vagos yet. We're definitely gonna dive back into Los Vagos and keep building on Los Vagos, but then every once in a while, I think we're gonna have a switch of Los Vagos, and instead of building our city, we're gonna build a map together instead. And then eventually, when we have enough of Los Vagos, I hope we're at a point where this map is ready to go and we can dive in and start working it out. So again, don't be worried, we're not abandoned Los Vagos yet, but we're looking for something to tackle after Los Vagos is a bit further, and maybe eventually we start having 2 builds at the site or something. Yeah, I'm gonna save all of them, to be honest. I like all of the maps I made so much. I think all of them are amazing locations. There has been a lot of work that went in here, right? You guys are only seeing the very finals. I must have loaded over 100 different heat maps into my game and looked at different locations and really sorted through them roughly. You are seeing only the 7 top candidates in really high quality that I would all like to build out. So yes, I'm not gonna throw any of these away. Eventually I would wholeheartedly like to build all of them. I guess Teddy was correct when he said if you start looking into maps, you will become a map maker if you want to or not. Because I love it, really. I think I'm gonna have a lot of fun. But yeah, I also think Avila is the first one we work on, because that's the one I personally would like to build on the most, and I think it's gonna be a fun project. And I also don't want heavy infrastructure in the map. I don't like maps that have much pre-layouted roads. I think what matters is that you have highway and main arterials in the build. But that's all we would do, right? We would obviously put a lot of trees and bushes and rocks and like detail the place up prettily, but in general infrastructure, I want quite minimal impact. I want beautiful highways, I want a few nice interchanges, and I want a few different connections that allow you to build, right? I would want one place to make it obvious that you can start to build here. I would want one intersection, quite literally, this one is perfect. We would just keep this intersection here that is literally carved into the Histata for us already, and have a starting point here, right? For people that want to start building here, and then probably have a starting point somewhere back here for people that enjoy building a really big map, and maybe have one starting point here for people that enjoy building big in the ocean front. But it's what I like about this so much. I think there is so many different builds you can do on this map, and not all of them are small. Like, this is a gigantic area back here, right? If we have a look, I actually would like to have a look at the size of this. something like services, transport, and now we're the airport. Yeah, look, like the airport is one of the biggest things you can use. Even the international airport would fit here. Nobody should use the international airport. It looks horrible and should be ignored, but then it's still interesting for us to see the size, right? Like you could build a gigantic city in this place. Even here in the front, it could fit. Those are the two places I personally am the least interested in, but I'm happy they are there because I think it's really cool to have stuff interacting with each other. Have a small village here, have a small city here, have another village here, and then have a bigger city here and a bigger city here. And you have multiple places in the map interacting with each other and a lot of traffic going back and forth. So I think the decision is made. I think Avila Beach is where we are gonna spend a lot of time on in future. And all the others, we will not forget about them because I really like them and I wanna turn them into maps as well. But you guys know how slow I detail in Los Vagos. I don't think I'm gonna be quicker at making maps either. We're probably gonna spend a long time on this. And I'm quite tempted to even start looking into this map, but with a look at the clock, I think I'm just gonna have a really short and concrete stream today where we did nothing but looking over maps and actually made a decision. I think I'm gonna see if there is somebody we can raid out to and get ready for battle already, because I have to get up fairly early tomorrow. But honestly, I am very happy because I love this map. I think this map is so cool. We will have so much fun on this. Especially with all of these roads in here as well. There's gonna be really enjoyable to work this out and see this come together. The one thing I need to really learn about is proper configuring water. And then the even bigger one is to see if I can get bathyemic data. I never know how to pronounce that word correctly, but the water elevation data. So maybe we can also map out the ocean. Otherwise, we'll do it manually. It's not too bad. And I'm curious, Baganario, if you say you have fond memories of this place, you've been here before. No, this is not LA. LA is a lot bigger. This is, hold on, welcome in. Actually, I want to show you, because you made some of the big suggestions. It's not that far from LA, but yeah, no, LA would be back there, roughly, where my cursor is. We're in the same coastline as LA, but we're a lot higher. We're roughly in the middle between LA and San Francisco. So no, not LA, but same coast. Oh, actually very cool. I mean, I've also I think I've been in every single of the places that we mapped out, so I have fond memories of many of them, but with this I wholeheartedly just look for what the most interesting to build. And Amar, because you gave me a lot of good suggestions, I was about to end stream, but now you came in, I want to show you a bit more. Because we have been, I'm gonna do one quick last exercise, but just because it is some of the places that you showed us. I made 7 high quality Teas and world maps that we looked on. This is probably the map we decided on. 90%. This is probably the map we're gonna work out and spend time on, because I think it's incredibly inspiring on terrain. But I wanna have a look at you with the alternatives, because some of the alternatives are literally your suggestions, because you made some really good suggestions, so I think you will appreciate some of them. Yes, it's very close to Santa Maria. Yes, you are completely in the right area. In fact, if you are so interested in where we are, I can just show you real quick. We are right here. You see, LA is a bit below us. So, not too far from LA, honestly. Yes, it's a while, but yeah, it's not that far from LA. So, makes sense you say that the coastline is different. The reason I find this way more interesting than LA is this is a tiny place, right? Like, I don't like big cities, I don't like big playable area. This is really, really tiny. So, I don't know. You're the exact opposite than me then. I do really bad at GeoGuessr. I love looking at Google Maps by now and I enjoy it, but I have not really ever done it in the past in my life, so is a very much a learning process for me. So I don't know. Yeah, this is Durango, was one of our alternatives as well. Is one of those river canyon maps. Obviously there would be a river flowing through here. I think this one is really cool because it has so many of those plateaus here around the river where you would have a lot of elevation and heat difference in where you would build on. But I think some of the other ones we have are more inspiring than this, and one of the reasons I don't love this so much is that this would have a lot less flexibility in using bridges and port stuff, right? And I'm not super interested in all of the bridges and port stuff, but I would like to have the possibility to use some of it at least. And yes, we could use some of it, but the river is a tad too small for shipping, so not the best candidate. And then this, if I recall correctly, this was your suggestion the last time. You suggested the Grand Tetons, and I made a really high quality heat map of the high Grand Tetons. I think it turned out beautiful. Obviously, we have no water in here yet. I think especially if I look at this once from above, it's fairly easy here to see where the coastline would be, right? But we would have to either find water data and also map the water data or do it manually. I wouldn't mind either. I think probably data can do it prettier than I can, but I'm not sure if my skill set allows me to get the water data in here to look good. I'll try my best, but it's gonna take a while. But yes, this is Grand Tetons, and I also think it's a really pretty map. For me, it's a bit too flat. It's why this does not make it into the final selection. Because while this is really interesting, and I think also it does offer quite a bit of interesting terrain here, it's generally pretty flat around the lake, right? So it's not that difficult to build interesting around it. I would like a little more challenge. Does this look beautiful as a map? It totally does, especially if we imagine all of this to be filled up with water. I think this would be an absolutely stunning map. Is it the one that we feel like building on the most? Not really. And then I'm not even sure if any of your other suggestions made it into the final 7 picks. I don't think so. I think the only final pick of yours that made it in is Grand Titans that we decided against. Can you post that into my Discord, Amar? Because you made really good suggestions. I'm super tempted to still check it out, but I will not remember it if you just post it into my chat. And there is an ad break in 5 seconds. I'm gonna run to the toilet real quick. I should be back when the ad break is over, but be right back real quick. Alright, perfect timing. Came back right when the ad break was over. I guess I missed Gaga right when I left the room. If you are still here, thanks so much for tuning in as always, and have a good night, cutie. I assume, probably, because I just went AFK really quick, you were probably gone already. And thanks, Amar. Honestly, very much appreciated. I am still looking for suggestions, and I'm happy to check out every place. I think it's gonna be really hard to beat the 7 ones I have by now. Because just as a quick, well, I'll show you in a moment after we went over all of the map, but I have looked at the entirety of the US to find places, right? Like, I literally looked at so much Google Earth in that last week that I probably never had as good knowledge of the US as I do now. And I do really think it's gonna be hard to find nicer places. This, I think it will be another desert map, yes. There is 2 reasons for that. The main reason is I live in a grass theme. It sounds really silly, but everything is green if I leave my door. I don't want to build something that is similar to what I see every day. I find that very boring. I want to build places that are different and inspiring to me. And then the bigger, or another big reason, is that I traveled so much in Arizona and Utah and Colorado as a kid and teenager and young adult that I have incredibly many nostalgic memories about this place or about these kind of landscapes. And then the very last and third point for me wanting to build desert again is not completely irrelevant either, is that I make a lot of local stuff for my build, right? So I have a lot of decals that are specifically made for desert builds because we were in Los Vagos, and I have a really big and nice selection of assets and mods and everything that are pretty specific to desert stuff. So I would like to still make use of that. So all of these things coming together is why I want to build desert again. Because all of you guys have to keep in mind, Los Vagos is only really my 4th build I ever made in cities. I started building a year ago. My first build was me learning the game, looking at every asset. I built a really big and ugly, horrible looking city where I just played the game like a simulation title. And then I made 2 builds afterwards that were both very short, for a month or something. And then the only real long-term build I ever did was Los Vagos. And I think I've gotten a lot better at the game playing Los Vagos. So now I actually would like to make a proper build. I feel a bit less bad at the game and want to dive into it and make use of more difficult terrain and check out what we can do. But yes, this is also our second favorite, I think, together with Avila Beach. If we don't build in Avila Beach, we probably build here. I think some people might be able to know what this place is. Probably Amar can tell what this is without me even giving it away. Maybe you've seen it in the names. But I would be actually curious if Amar could recognize this. This is Lake Tahoe, and I think Lake Tahoe is also stunning. We would not be entirely... Yeah, okay, see, Amar immediately recognizes it. I'm not surprised. I have really nice memories about Lake Tahoe as well, is one reason why I like this. But mainly the reason why I like this is this, and we're gonna do this really quick and ugly, and it's gonna look horrible. But just to illustrate what I would like to do here, I would like to break this open to make this less realistic to how it actually is. And instead of it being realistic, I would like to turn this into a proper outside ocean connection, right? Where we break open the lake and have a gigantic river flowing in here. Because then we can literally have a perfect bridges and port built here. Where here, especially, we have space for some nice harbor infrastructure. And I think this lake would look beautiful if you imagine ships driving around here. So I think would make it very pretty as well. And then I think the terrain of this also is very nice. It is my second favorite, again, because I think all of these canyons make it really, really, really interesting and stunning. So yeah, probably second favorite out of all of the maps we have is this one. Oh, interesting, curious. I would actually have to recheck that to know where my furthest point would have been. That's curious that you have not been to the one place that you would like to live in, actually. But yes, I've been in a lot of Canada and West US as well. I've gotten very blessed by my parents as a teenager, and they've showed me a lot of our beautiful world and traveled a lot with me, what I'm very thankful for. This is a spot that, again, I'm curious, I think Amar is so good at geography, you can probably recognize this as well. Ignore the ugly coastline. But seeing how well you guess every single place so far, I think you have a pretty good chance at guessing this one as well. I should have made sure that you can't see the file name, but maybe you've seen the file name already as well and know what this is, but maybe you can guess it. Maybe you have no idea as well, and I can give it away. I don't think. I'm gonna zoom in a bit to make it more obvious. I think it gets a bit more obvious if I probably zoom here. This is Big Sur, which I think is a stunning place. This one I think actually is prettier in real life than in game. If we look at this in real life, this place is crazy. Honestly crazy and beautiful. Because it has this crazy cliff mountain outside of all of the other elevation, right? So I think this looks really beautiful, especially with all of these mountains in the back. And yeah, obviously you were right with the course, but I think it's a stunning place, really, especially this with these small roads actually going up this mountain here on the side. I think that's an absolute vibe with these houses here on top. Crazy. The reason I don't think it's as interesting in game is that the only real place we have to build in the backland outside of this open space here is either in this canyon, which is fairly tight and has a river through it, so not that much space, and then is this one. And generally this one is so tight that we'll have issue with the scale of the game to really build anything meaningful in here. And I think Avila Beach, in comparison, both in-game as well as in Google Earth, if you look at this, there is way more happening, like in the canyons, in the back alleys, there is way more different cool places where we can dig in. That's why I think Big Sur is just worse than Avila Beach. If you wanna be challenged by terrain and build small, which both is what we want to do. Otherwise, I also think it's a really cool map. I do want to build this out in future because I think this is beautiful and I would like to totally turn this into a map. I think the mountains in these are probably the most stunning out of everything. I said earlier that Lake Isabella has the prettiest mountains. I think I have to take that back, because if we look at these canyons and these mountains here, I think this looks absolutely amazing. Like, wholeheartedly, the look in here is just 10 out of 10. I love it. I absolutely goddamn love it. So I would like to build this out as well, but it's not a map that I would like to play on. And then as a very, very last one, we have this one. And this is actually one that is in my very top favorites, because it's so fitting for bridges and ports. The reason I don't think we're gonna take this one is because it has too much buildable area. This is a really nice location if you want to build big cities. I don't want to build big cities, so I think for us this is probably not that interesting. Else I think it's amazing, because especially with bridges and ports, we will see a lot of coastal harbors. I don't think we see very many river harbors. And this river is very, very spacious. We did this a few times before here, but I think scale matters. This is a really big ship, right? It looks tiny on this river, so you could have some really high volume shipping going through here and then build a nice big harbor city around it. So very interesting. Again, or you mean if you can the non-playable area? I have to learn many of that as well. Again, I'm clueless about maps. I'm just diving into it. But one of the things that I already can tell you that I don't like is that we can draw the roads only inside the playable area, and I think it looks a bit silly, right? Because if we take something like a highway, I would love to also have the highway unused, but at least visually running out here. We cannot do that. I cannot place anything here. I would actually assume it might be the same with elevation. I don't know. But with anything like tracks or rail or anything like that, sadly you will have to live with this look that, at least in my opinion, is a bit silly, right? Because you have this weird cut where the road suddenly ends and appears out of nowhere. Nothing we can really do about that. And the question with trees is a good one. The answer to that is I don't know. We will find out together now. Where even is foliage? Tree. I think we can if we turn on anarchy. Yes, okay. That's actually nice to know. We can play trees wherever we want. So yes, we can work all of this out. Since we're in a desert, I think we're gonna spend a lot of time on silly decisions as well. Where the truth is, one of my favorite kind of trees, for example, are these bushes in... I need tree controller. That's actually curious. I guess I don't have tree controller in this playset, so we don't really have much vegetation options. So not great, but if we would have tree controller in here, one of the things I don't like so much about the bushes. Why is the elevation going so crazy? Oh, because we've clipped on our right, being silly. Now it should behave, actually. But yes, these respawn so early in the LODs. That's something we're gonna spend a lot of time on, to just zoom out, right? Because a lot of the vegetation really does have the problem that you see it fine close up, and then you zoom out and it disappears. And I don't want to use too much space of it that we or I don't want to use too many of those flowers that disappear, because I care about our build looking good from far away, right? This is how a lot of people play most of the time. So I want the vegetation to also look good from far away. I'm gonna need to catch up on chat real quick, because I missed some of it. Yeah, I mean, that is a road trip, because you said you've never been in that area, Amar. I've done a road trip in that part of the city. Highly recommended. I guess currently, because of the political situation, I would not want to travel to the US. But imagining that that country gets its grasp together in the future, that is one of the best travel trips you can do. Start either in the very south or in the very north of the coast, and then just have an entire road trip down for it. I mean, yes, I could also turn off the world map, but I don't want that. I think the world map looks amazing, but yeah, totally. If we don't want a world map, this is what we do. Then this is how our save looks, and I think it makes this a tad more realistic, right? But I don't like it. I really think I like the big terrain outside, but yes, that is something. If we would prefer that, like even looking at Avila Beach, which our favorite was. So let's load in Avila Beach, and we'll remove the map. Yes, we could totally. Whoops, I did not load in Avila Beach. Did I overwrite it again? If so, no problem. We can. Nope, I didn't. But yes, we could use the map like this. But I don't see the advantage beside the weird looking roads in the outside connection. But I don't think it's a problem really. I think it's still a lot prettier to have the outside. I can tell you why they don't do it on the big maps though. There is a very easy reason on the big maps, and it's also there is three reasons, I guess, why I don't like the big maps. The biggest reason why I don't like the big maps is because I detail so hard. I'm already overwhelmed with a map in this site. I can build on a map in this site for a year or two, right? What am I gonna do with more space? I don't really know. Yes, I could just space out things way further from each other. But I don't think it makes it prettier. I think it makes it more realistic, but then does it make it more interesting? No, I think in a game you need to condense things. Like if you look at great world areas made by amazing developers like Rockstar, they are all condensed, right? They don't have kilometers of urban sprawl in GTA 5, even though LA clearly is just one giant urban sprawl. Would that be fun to play in, to drive through kilometers of same looking low density housing? It wouldn't really. And does it make a city more interesting to look at in game if you have blocks and blocks of low density suburban sprawl? Not in the slightest, right? So that's why I don't think it's very interesting, why I don't want to do it. But otherwise, really, I don't disagree. And then my computer also is kind of shit, so I think I would probably also struggle performance-wise on those big maps. And my last thing that I can't really judge, it does not seem like Jonah used to have such big problems, but Jonah seems to be breaking down since the last patch in his city as well. And it's distances, right? Like the simulation is not designed to be as big as the big maps can be, and that is a big problem in my book, because some of the distances are just gonna cause problems for the simulation that shouldn't. And the very last point is that stuff gets less sharp, right? Because already here you can see a slight quality decrease between my heath map and my world map, just because the world map gets stretched a lot more, so the heath map is a bit more crisp. And on the bigger map, everything is going to be a lot less trees, because you still only have 4096 pixels by 4096 pixels. So it's the same thing. And welcome in, Jelly. Nice to see you. How have you been enjoying Baldur today? I've seen you been playing with Grey again. Hope you're having a nice evening, Jelly. We did something very boring, but actually, I'm actually really excited. We've been looking at loads of different real-life places and making maps of them in-game. And I think we found our favorite candidate. I think this, ignore the horrible-looking ocean, obviously. This map is not a finished map yet. It's just the terrain that matters. But I think this is the map we will dive into after Los Vagos, because it's highly inspiring with all of these cute little canyons and back roads here where we can build through, and then have this nice canyon with a river flowing through it where we can build around. And we spent our entire stream looking at different areas. I think we have places that look more interesting than this. I think, for example, the one that we just kicked out, this one I think looks more stunning. Like, visually the map is prettier. I think it's gonna be less interesting to build on. I think I just overwrote that. I hate it. Why do they do this? Yeah, I see import, export. They look exactly the same. This looks exactly the same. Sometimes I misclick export when I want to import and then I overwrite it. It's not a problem. I have the file in my computer. I can literally just take it. I'm doing that in the background right now real quick. Need to see which one it is because I exported different keys. Is minus 400 lang, so we're taking minus 400 lang world. And we're gonna place it in the heat map folder again and replace it. And now we should be able to load the correct one again. Import, not export. Thank you. There we go. It's back. But yes, I think this one looks even more beautiful visually, right? Because these mountains back here are 10 out of 10 beautiful and stunning. The buildable area and this is a bit more boring because we still have this beautiful canyon, but this one is so small that beside a few rural houses, we will not be able to get much in there, and then the main buildable area would be here in the front. Beautiful map, not that inspiring to build in. Yes, this canyon also very cool, but the other one, yes, all of them. It's why I'm making maps, Jelly. There is a ton of amazing, gigantic, beautiful maps out there on PDX. If you want a big, open, flat map with a lot of buildable area, you don't need to make a map yourself. If you're like me and you want to be in physical pain fighting terrain and be really challenged and struggle with small areas, then I don't think there is that many great maps on PDX for that. It's why I looked into this myself, right? Because, like, for example, this Lake Tahoe is my second favorite out of all of the maps we've been looking at. And it's the... Did I just do the same? Why am I... I'm getting tired. I need to... Oh, actually, no, I just misclicked. This is Lake Tahoe. It's fairly similar, right? All of this flat open area here would become a lake later that we have not placed yet. But imagine all of this would be one giant lake. It would be the same, right? You just said you love canyons. I love canyons. I want to build in these small deserty canyons. I want to build on the hillside. I want to go onto places like this and have nice houses overlooking the lake, right? And through stuff like this. This is why I've been looking into maps myself, because yes, again, we have a quadrillion amazing maps out there. Most people prefer open and flat maps because they're a lot easier to build, right? If you're new to the game, I was like that when I started the game a year ago. I was looking at maps and I was like, oh my god, this is all, there's too much terrain, and there was no terrain at all, but I just wanted one big flat open space where I can put buildings down on. But now I'm a bit less shit at the game. Now I want something like this, which surely is a lot less popular than open maps with the majority of players. But I personally think this is way more fun to build. And for me, it's also a thing, I get overwhelmed by now. If I have a really open map, I don't know what to build. I don't know what to put where. I look at this and I have 1,000 ideas right away, right? Like instantly, I know what I want to build here. If I look at this, I right away know my favorite spot in all of this is this back canyon here. Because here we can work in the hillside, we can work down here, we will bring a river through this. I think this is amazing, right? It instantly inspires me. If I look at one of our weaker maps that we did, that is fairly open, pretty map, but a bit boring. This inspires me way less. It's also kind of inspiring because, again, this would be a gigantic lake here in the middle, everywhere where it's flat. So it's quite inspiring because we have this small island here. And I think this is the most interesting space in this build. This small isle of terrain here and building up into the canyon here a bit. But generally, it's fairly flat and open and you can just build through there.
My God!
I
Okay,
think
it's happening! Everybody stay calm! What's the procedure, everyone? What's the procedure? Stay calm!
Welcome in, Kodiak and gang. Nice to see you cuties here. And yes, the water really does matter, Jelly. We could fake the water for now and pretend we have water. But I would try to properly build this out and get this a bit more pretty, but yes, we can pretend that there is water as well. And welcome in, Kodiak and gang. What have you been playing today? Have you been actually enjoying bridges and ports again, or what was it today? I hope you had a nice stream for sure. And honestly, quite as happy as I am, very much big thanks for the raid, but I'm about to head off myself, so if you would have streamed like 20 minutes longer, then I would probably be the one raiding you. So appreciate it, but it's gonna be a short stop for you guys here. We have not been really playing either today. We've been just looking at different maps and deciding what map we want to work out and what is gonna be our next area to dive into. I think Jelly would probably like this, because Jelly, you said you love canyons. This entire thing is one gigantic canyon where you have the river again. We don't have proper water yet. You have this entire canyon with a buildable area right around the river. In my taste, again, it's a bit too much buildable area. It's why I don't think this is the most interesting map. But the terrain around it is really cool again. I think these small canyon plateaus here right next to it are so nice. Cities tomorrow. I like it actually. I'm gonna be out of town this weekend, but I'm still here, so maybe I have time to check in what you're doing in Cities tomorrow for a little then. And what in God's earth is Hooded Horse game? You always play crazy different variety games, and half of them I've never even heard about before I tune into you playing them. And Hooded Horse is one of those that I never even heard about. But yeah, so the more I look at all of these, I think this is our map. Villa Beach is just amazing. And yes, we have the water way too high for a Villa Beach. Please don't flood everything right away. Ignore the coast, obviously this looks horrible. And the water being here just made our textures really ugly, but I love the vibe of this. I mean, to be honest, I also always feel like when I get raided, I should keep streaming a bit, but I actually have to get up early tomorrow, so I can't keep streaming for much longer. A little maybe, but not much longer. And I'm gonna start a new
I wish we had
map
a
really quick
cactus.
to get rid of the old things and mainly
That's cute.
get rid of that weird switched up terrain that we've gotten for some reason. The only reason that, or the only thing that makes me a bit sad about Avila Beach is that the mountains are a bit less impressive than on the other ones. Oh, see, now we have this problem again. I don't understand the climates in this game yet. Yeah, Kodiak is probably raided and ran. Also, the hydrant I take. Thank you for spamming, Jelly, as always when you're here. But I think Kodiak generally, when he raids, he's been streaming for so long that he needs to do something, so he generally raids and runs.
I have to listen to this
at least in my experience.
one more time. I'm just going to quit and go play Cities.
That one, I would... Does anybody recognize that sound? Where is that from? I found that on a free audio library. It sounds like in a podcast or something. I have no clue where that sound is from, but I love that sound of the gentleman who keeps raging and says he wants to go play Cities if he has to listen one more time. But yes, that's honestly, I think that's 90% of Kodiak raid. Sometimes he has time and stays a bit afterwards, but generally Kodiak is Mr. Expert raid and runner. But still, very much appreciated, obviously. And especially today, I can't really say anything against it, because I will have to go to bed as well. But yes, this is our map, and this really gets me excited, so I think we're gonna dive into this. And we have this weird bug again, with everything around our buildable area being snowy, and the inside not being snowy. Don't ask me why, I don't understand the climate. Okay, actually we just had to speed up a little and it's fine. But I don't fully get why the terrain behaves so different at times. Definitely weird, but I wholeheartedly love this map. And I'm also really excited that we literally have these roads printed in here, because it's gonna be really easy for us to just trace these roads, right? And yes, then we have to terraform a lot to get this a bit smoother than it is now. But just the highways are gonna be really easy for us to build, because we can quite literally go in and just trace the terrain we have here. I mean, seems like you might have to pack your bags and move to the US then, Jelly. I think if that's your opinion, then you very much will enjoy the politics over there. What kind of ideas am I giving you for Cities? Why are you never streaming Cities, Jelly? When is that gonna happen? I actually wholeheartedly was wondering, because you seem to stream fairly regularly lately, and I know you like Cities, you watch tons of Cities players, but I don't think you ever played Cities on stream, at least not when I had time for it. I very much like the sound of that. Then, everybody, I'm gonna be good for once. I don't generally message, but I'm gonna give a shout out to Jelly, who's a very nice and wholesome streamer. Generally plays mostly Baldur's Gates lately, or your dinosaur game. I don't even know how exactly it's called, but the dinosaur zoo game. And apparently next week also some Cities, which wholeheartedly I would love to see you play Cities. Yes, that. Jurassic Park World Evolution. It looks like a fun game. I think if I play something else, Planet Coaster looks more interesting to me than the dinosaur game. But both of them look very cute. So both of you or everybody in chat right now, go check out Jelly and maybe see somebody fail gloriously at Cities Skylines. I believe at least you have not played it that much, so I think it's probably gonna be a fairly entertaining experience to see you struggle. Not saying you will struggle, but you absolutely will struggle. So looking forward to that. It's so fun, Jelly, but the truth also is, I can only repeat this, there is a very easy way to make maps that you can make maps very quickly with. And they're gonna look, I'm gonna import the shitty version of Avila Beach. This is if you would go really fast on making a map. Ignore the water, hold on. But this is the low quality maps, right? If you, I hate this. Why does this always have to happen with the texture? Oh, actually he's fixing the textures himself. Yeah, so he just has to go over all of them, but whatever, we can live with that. But if you look at this is the easy approach to make a map. If you don't want to spend a lot of time learning complicated programs and things. So that is what it is. The high quality maps is not super difficult, but you will have to learn different programs for that, mainly QGIS. And you will have to put quite a lot of research into learning how to work with coordinates and things like that. Yes, this is not... The truth is, you cannot do this manually as pretty, right? Because if this is data, this is literally me importing real-life places into the game. I would like to make it by hand, but then by hand, the accuracy you have is a very shitty one, right? Because this is the smallest brush you have. You cannot really make sharp edges like this. That's not something the game allows you to do. And then even more, if you look into canyons like this, to do this by hand, I don't think you can. And in this map, maybe you could. But then if you look at these mountains back here, to get this as sharp by hand, I wholeheartedly don't think that's doable. And this is not even the map with the prettiest mountains. If you take this, I think is probably the best example. If you look at these mountains here, you can't do this with the vanilla tools, right? You cannot get this level of detail and sharpness. So while I want to do a lot of manual work on these maps afterwards, I think as a starting point, if you want to get really, really high quality data, you need to import something into the game. Because yes, the truth is you have different brushes here, right? You can use something like the peak brush, which is a lot better already. And with this, you can kinda do sharp things. Like if we have a look here, we take this terrain and we draw here. Like yes, this is very sharp, right? But to get terrain to be as smooth and crisp and beautiful in this is gonna be something. I don't think I can make a map that's as pretty as what I can import with data into the game. Because yes, this is very crisp, but to draw all of this with that brush is going to take you 500 ages. To learn the program also takes quite a while, but then after you learn the program, you can take any place in the world where you can find good data from and import it into your game. So very much interested, and by now I feel comfortable enough to do this. So for example, Jelly, if you tell me, hey, there is this place in the world and I would really love to make a map on there, could you import the data and make me a heat map? Then I would probably say yes, because I would enjoy watching you make a game. I would probably not make that for as many different places as I did for myself, but I would give you one free shot, I guess. But yes, if you have a place that you would love to have and it's not a rush, then I would totally be willing to see if there is data available for it and maybe import it and give it to you, and then you can make a map from it. I would not want to draw all the roads and water and everything for you, but the bare bone data like this, yeah, I would be willing to do that for people, because I do think it's very fun to see people make maps, and I would like to see a lot more variety on the PDX mod store, especially in regard to maps. And wholeheartedly, there also is a good tutorial. Like if you look in my Discord, I have a map channel in my Discord, and in the pinned messages in my map channel, there is the tutorial that I follow to do these things. It's quite intimidating at first and looks very difficult. If you follow the tutorial and you do it a few times, it's not that difficult and you can totally learn it. So I've been sharing my journey pretty openly and sharing all of my resources and what I've been learning and what we've been doing, because I don't really care about getting a popular map maker. I mainly care about having cool maps in the game. So the more I share my knowledge, the better it's gonna be for all of us. Because I'm a total beginner myself, right? I've never made a map in the past. I'm learning together with chat, really, and having a good experience and fun while doing so, but I'm a bloody beginner myself. And with this, guys, because I have to get up early, I will sadly have to find somebody to raid out to. I would ask Gray if Gray wants to stream.
Oh, that's cute.
Gray always tells me he's streaming late, so he's gonna say no. Maybe somebody else is streaming.
I wish we had a
Nobody
cactus.
who we're following is streaming cities. Shilka is streaming, which is an amazing city streamer that is playing not cities today. But unless Gray says he's gonna load online now, then we're gonna wait a little to raid Gray instead. But I think I'm gonna send you guys over to Shilka, who's a very nice and wholesome streamer with fun content. So I'm sure you guys gonna have a good time over there. But yeah, nobody's streaming cities. Actually, that's sad. I always try to stay within channel, but not possible today.
I have to listen to this
And
bloody noise
welcome
and
and
say
goodbye,
one more time.
Picana,
I'm
I
just gonna quit
guess.
and go play Cities.
Coming in and leaving right away. But yeah, as always, it's been a blast. Thank you so much for everybody tuning in. Thank you for Clovis and Rookie being so generous with me today. And thanks Kodiak for the nice raid, and everybody for tuning in. As always, I don't stream on a schedule. If you wanna catch me again, either click a follow button or join my Discord, where I ping when I go stream and in general share my city journey. Is a nice and fun place. But with that, thank you so much for tuning in, cuties, and have an absolutely wonderful good evening and enjoy your time over at Shilka. I have no clue what he's playing. It's Car Dealer Simulator. I guess it's a simulation title, maybe not the right one, but I hope you guys have fun over there and enjoy your evening, cuties. Bye bye, have a nice one.